Hey guys, it's Holly, and I am here today to tell you the most bizarre story that happened to us when we were recently at Disneyland. It was our third day of our 3-day trip to Disneyland, and we were at Disneyland in Fantasyland, and we were getting ready to go on the King Arthur's Carousel. We were in line for it, and my daughter, who is 9, really wanted to ride a particular horse. And the reason she wanted to ride this particular horse goes back to 3.5 years ago, the first time I took her to Disneyland. She was 6 years old. She was so excited to possibly ride this one horse, Jingles. Now, if any of you are familiar with Jingles, Jingles is the one horse on the King Arthur's Carousel that was Walt Disney's favorite horse. It is also the horse that Mary Poppins always rides. When the Mary Poppins character comes out, she always rides that horse. So it's a very popular horse. What happened 3.5 years ago when my daughter was 6, the park was actually getting ready to close. We didn't have a whole lot of time to really ride any rides, but we went ahead and got one ride on the carousel before the park was gonna close. My daughter, of course, trying to get on that one horse, Jingles. She was pointing it out as it was going around, and then it was our turn, race to get to that horse. My daughter, being so small, tried to get on the horse. A teenager was also trying to get on the horse. The teenager was much quicker. Even though my daughter touched the horse first and pretty much had claimed riding it, the teenager won because the teenager got on quicker. I talked to the teenager. I said my daughter really wanted to ride this horse. The teenager really didn't care. She was, a teenager. My daughter was in tears. We managed to find another horse. She was, I guess, happy with riding, but we didn't have time to try and do the ride again. There was too long of a line or something. I can't remember the reason, but we could not work it out for her to ride on Jingles. 3.5 years later, we are back at Disneyland. Let's see if we get on the horse that we want to get on. And I told my daughter, who is now 9, that she needs to be more aggressive if she really wants to ride this horse. And I made sure that it was going to work out. I made sure that we were going to be really the first ones to get on once they open up the gates. So if you're familiar with the King Arthur's Carousel at Disneyland, you know that they slide the gate when they let all the new passengers come on and claim their horses. And, it's first come, first serve. We were right up front there. We managed to just be in the group that had first dibs. Jingles was on the other side. So my daughter, I told her to run like crazy to go and get that horse. And she did. And she got the horse. I was busy trying to help my other kids find horses. But next thing I know, she is running through the carousel horses crying. And I'm like, wait, why aren't you on that horse? You wanted that horse. And she told me that a man asked her to get off. She had claimed the horse. She was on the horse. And I go over to see what's going on. It turns out Mary Poppins is on the horse. And the man that asked her to get off the horse or asked, her to leave was the character of Bert. So I'm thinking, no, this is not happening. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you are Mary Poppins. You do not tell my daughter to get off of this horse. She has waited 3.5 years to ride this horse. We were the first ones in here. I went over and told Mary Poppins that my daughter was on the horse first. And of course, Mary Poppins, practically perfect in every way, really didn't do anything about it. She didn't really say anything. My daughter was devastated once again, and by Mary Poppins, not a teenager this time. I was gonna go talk to a cast member about this whole matter and just say, this is what happened. My daughter was on this first. And just as I'm about ready to go and talk to a cast member, Bert comes up to me and said, she can have the horse. We're gonna leave. So Mary Poppins and Bert left the carousel. My daughter was able to ride Jingles. So we did a ride on the carousel, and I am totally shaking here because I just yelled at Mary Poppins. It was crazy. I couldn't believe I did. I didn't mean to, but you gotta understand, they should have done this properly. The proper way to do this is to not let any of the guests even in that gated area, because Mary Poppins actually comes in through the exit. She doesn't come in with the other guest. But what they should have done is they should have waited to open up that gate for all the guests, let Mary Poppins come in, claim Jingles, and then let all the guests in. Of course, my daughter would have been devastated then, knowing Jingles was taken once again, but at least it would have been done in the proper way. That's all I'm asking. Anyways, the ride was over, and I had a cast member pull me aside and say, "Excuse me, ma'am, I need to talk to you." So the cast member pulled me aside. His name was Jesse. He told me that I should never ask Mary Poppins to get off of Jingles because Jingles is Mary Poppins' horse. You know, I know the whole story. I understand that's always the horse that Mary Poppins rides. I get it, but they did not do it the proper way. They had asked my daughter to get off the horse when she had already claimed it. So I told Jesse that Mary Poppins had asked my daughter to get off the horse. My daughter was on the horse first. And Jesse looked at me and said, "Oh, she was on the horse first? Okay." He really couldn't say anything bad because he realized that they had made a mistake. Disney, I know, Disney does things so beautifully, but they're not perfect. They're gonna make mistakes now and then. And I am happy that Mary Poppins did in fact get off the horse and let my daughter ride. It all worked out. Anyways, we rode some more rides in Fantasyland, but then I wanted to go ride the carousel again. I felt like our carousel ride got a little gypped because I don't know, I was all shooken up about it. I didn't even get a chance to ride with my other kids. Couple of them, it was their first trip to Disney. I wanted to ride the carousel again. So we are in line again for another ride on the carousel. This time I am only riding it with my oldest daughter who's 11 and my youngest daughter who is 5. Nobody had said they wanted to ride Jingles, which was great. We didn't have to necessarily go and get on that horse. Well, it's a good thing because just as we thought it was time for them to open the gates and let us through, they put it on pause for a minute. Who comes walking around the corner? The Mary Poppins, Bert, and her entourage. And they were back on the carousel for the same ride that we were on. They did it properly. They waited to let all the guests on. They let Mary Poppins go ride her Jingles, and the whole band got on along with Bert, and we got to ride along with Mary Poppins on the carousel. And so I made sure that my husband filmed us going around when we did that. Crazy story. I mean, I'm not saying it's a good thing to yell at characters at Disneyland, but if a character is going to kick my child off of a horse that they have already claimed, then that is just wrong. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed this crazy story that I had on our trip to Disneyland. It certainly was just a memory, something to talk about later on. Yeah, and hopefully Mary Poppins didn't get too upset at us. You know, I don't want to be on her bad side, that's for sure. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and may you have a magical day.